Hello, everyone, and welcome to Culture of Gaming's Power Up Podcast, episode 85. I'm your host, Taylor, and this week I'm, of course, joined by Anthony Dennis. How are you?
Pretty good. Not feeling the best, but doing okay.
All right. Catching a cold or something, or what's going on?
I've just got a bit of a headache and some sinusy issues. But aside from that, doing not too bad. Yeah, been playing some Elder Scrolls this week. Elder Scrolls Online. Picked that up last Saturday/Sunday for me.
Okay.
So been grinding through that.
Okay. You've been
I don't
streaming
mind it.
Here on Mitzer, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been streaming it a bit.
Okay.
I don't mind it. It's the I feel the Morrowind expansion is one of the worst expansions. I have kind of jumped into some of the other areas, like Daggerfall. I haven't been to the Imperial City yet. But like I find side quests, just as a quick explanation on this, I find side quests to be very lengthy, like too lengthy.
Okay.
Like you'll do one arc of the side quest and it's like, okay, go and talk to the same person again. And they'll get you to run off and kill somebody. Then you come back and talk to them again and then it just keeps going and going and going and going.
That's kind of how MMOs work, though.
Yeah, but I mean, I would think that they would kind of like branch off to different side quests in a sense, not just keep going back to the same person to do kind of the same mission arc, if that makes sense.
It's like you're playing a never-ending game of fetch with that person.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've been playing some of that. Haven't played Minecraft this week.
Okay.
What else have I been playing? Yeah, I played some Uno as well, here and there. And there was something else. No Man's Sky. I got back into that thanks to Matt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't really too successful, but I've been kind of grinding through the main missions and whatever. Jumped to a couple of different galaxies and gone and seen what's going on. I'm still finding it a bit boring, but anyway.
Okay.
But aside from that, that's kind of it from me this week.
All right. Mike Soul, you return. How are you, sir?
Doing well. Right now that I'm also not feeling well, but for entirely different reasons. For the life of me, I decided to go ahead and go to high-intensity training, and I cannot feel anything underneath my legs right now, so yeah,
Cool.
AKA screw leg day.
Hey, I mean, that's the best feeling, ain't it?
Oh no, it definitely is, because I mean, I admit that as of late I have taken my personal fitness and health kind of a touch more seriously, if anything else. You know, one part to just feel well and another part to get some extra money on my paychecks at work.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, it's like, you know, just been trying to take fitness a touch more seriously, which is kind of makes me miss the whole Xbox fitness app while it was still in play.
Dance Revolution.
You still have a Wii?
The Dance, the Dance Central, your miscellaneous fitness that they want you to follow it, and it follows with you with your Connect when it's not spying on your children, but that's beside the point.
Okay. Do you still have a Wii?
No, I mean, I do, but it's basically been collecting dust with the Wii U at this point.
You should pick up Wii Fit.
Oh no.
Yeah, I miss the Wii Fit games. They need to make Switch Fit.
Exactly.
Was that actually any good, Wii Fit?
Oh yeah, it was a ton of fun. I was super into it when it came out, and I was younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, funny enough, I also got a fitness boxing as well for the Switch, and I mean that's fun too. But that's also kind of collecting dust since I admit that this week it's been particularly slow. I'm basically at that point to where I'm dragging myself through the mud now, just trying to get to the end of this upcoming week, because we're going to be having Astral Chain coming up, we're going to have Borderlands 3, and we're going to have a whole bunch of other miscellaneous goodies since the summer drought is just about over.
Oh yeah,
so
it's like once it hits September, we're going to be getting... It's like
August 30th.
Right? August 30th?
August 30th, yeah. Yeah, no, September is usually the kickoff or when all the games start flooding in, but I'm going to say August 30th because Astral Chain definitely is a game that's kind of on my radar right now, so...
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we get there, the better. But until then, I'm just been blowing through my collection of miscellaneous games I've been playing off of the Xbox Game Pass. Just finished Lego Batman 2, working on Lego Batman 3, and Lego City Undercover. Anthem has disappointed me for the last time, so that's going to be traded off here fairly quick.
Ooh.
And yeah, no, I'm done playing around with Anthem. I'm done playing nice. Even though, ironically enough, for all the times I've appeared on the show, I've of course used that time to bash the game. But yeah, no, at this point, it's not even a I mean, it's not even worth trying to make a joke. I'm just, overall, I'm done.
We're done. We're done.
Fair enough.
We're seeing other people now. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, if anyone else is going to torture me,
over.
at least I want to make sure that I'm enjoying it too. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
It'll buy you roses one of these days and want you back. It's okay.
Hey, and as soon as that happens, I may welcome him back, but I'll just wait for the Xbox sale to sell it for like 15, 20 bucks digitally, and I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll just keep you on for ironic purposes at this point.
Okay. All right. Oh, this past week for me, what has gone on? Yeah, we don't have a fourth person this week because no one answered the call. Anyway, so well, it's just the three of us.
Yeah, somehow for some rather bizarre reason, I was the only person who decided to go ahead and double down. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for that, by the way. I appreciate that.
Well, we thank you. So it's not just Anthony and I chatting here by ourselves.
By all means, always happy to help.
Anyway, got a bit of No Man's Sky. I was playing it with Anthony and a couple of other friends also. You know, first night I got it, stayed up until like 5 in the morning playing it. So.
Is it actually engaging now? Your silence says it all, gentlemen.
I regret sinking so much time into it because now I can't refund it.
So it's one of those ironic. You didn't think you were going to enjoy it as much as you thought.
It had a really nice honeymoon period.
Precisely, it's a very fetch and grab game.
Yeah.
I must say, like, it's very go here, get this material, craft this.
Well, I am waiting for Iceborne, so I totally understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
That too is also coming very soon.
Honestly, I can't find pirates in it, to be honest.
I've been attacked by some pirates.
I got attacked once, and that was it, and I can't find any at all. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I've got to get upstanding with the Gek, because I, like, killed a Gek accidentally.
Nice.
So that was a good move.
Nice. Yeah. Had a really nice honeymoon period, but now just like maybe after like the first 2 days I bought it, it's like I can't bring myself to log back into it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
there's that. A little bit of Final Fantasy 14 also has been sprinkled out throughout this past week. A little bit of Minecraft also. In Final Fantasy 14, I'm almost through the patch quests, and I'm almost to Heavensward, which is the first expansion.
Cool.
So I'm getting kind of excited for that. Anyway, that's still a super fun game. All right, Andy, I think that about does it for me in gaming this past week. Yeah, I would also like to mention I'm not feeling well either, but for entirely different reasons than these two. Anyway.
Basically, everyone on staff is suffering through one means or another.
Yeah.
And that we're the only survivors able to go ahead and pull ourselves to actually do the show this week.
Exactly. That's a good way of thinking about it, yeah. All right, it's all right, we're maintaining it. All right, the main site is, of course, cultureofgaming.com. Okay, and then we have a community Discord, a link to which you can find on the right-hand sidebar of the main site, which once again is cultureofgaming.com. Head on over there, opinions, reviews, analysis, etc., etc. And look, here's the thing. Unlike other gaming websites, we're not going to push any sort of political agenda in our stuff, okay? The thing that's really nice about our content is it's just either opinions on games or analytical content on games also, okay? So that's that kind of sets us apart, I think. We don't want to push any sort of political agenda. Everyone's got their own thing going on, okay? Anyway, ask me why I'm so kind of ranty about that. There are two Facebooks. There's facebook.com/cog.net. That is facebook.com/cogdotnet, which is the Facebook for the primary site. And then facebook.com/poweruppodcast, the Facebook page for the podcast here. Twitter @cogdotnet. That's @cog.net. Instagram @cultureofgaming. youtube.com/cultureofgaming. twitch.tv/cultureofgaming, and mixer.com/culture_of_gaming. And yeah, I'm not too sure how much our Twitch will get used anymore, because I'm kind of liking Mixer here. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sponsor us, Mixer, please.
Not sponsored, by the way. Yeah, no, anyway, so the gaming news. Let's hate on the Epic Store. Let's do that. Yeah, that's the first thing. Our lead topic here is the developer of Dark, which is a actually somewhat highly anticipated indie title coming to Steam, I think, within the next few months here. His name is, it's just one developer. He solo developed this game over 3.5 years, which is impressive, to say the least, named Vlad Marhule. I think he's French. Anyway,
That I
yeah.
think the name was, but yeah.
Okay. He has absolutely BTFO'd Tim Sweeney in the Epic Store this past week. Okay? So he did an AMA on Reddit where he did an AMA on Reddit about his upcoming game, which again is called Dark. And in the AMA, he was asked about Epic Store exclusivity, and his reply was, Epic reached out to me right after I released the trailer announcing Steam release date. At that point, Dark was in the top 50 most wishlisted games on Steam. I felt going for an exclusivity deal would show that my word means nothing, as I had just promised the game would launch on Steam. Besides, Dark Page was on Steam since November 2018, and a lot of people patiently kept it on their wishlist since then. I thought it was a bad idea to disappoint all those people and prove to the world that my announcements mean nothing. Epic made it clear that they reached out to me with an exclusivity deal. I politely turned them down before we had a chance to discuss any details, money offered, etc. I asked them if they would be willing to sell Dark non-exclusively, and they explained that at this point in time it's not something they can do. It was a polite and professional exchange. I have nothing bad to say, it just wasn't the right move for Dark. He went on, and then, just to briefly sum up, and then this got a little bit of media attention, and so it went on to say, he posted an article on medium.com, okay? And, yeah, he elaborates as to why he rejected the offer, which is, a lot of it is contained in the little Reddit comment that he did, but then he also said that he felt that maintaining a trust with the community, already kind of building around his game, would be more important in the long term than the short term cash grab Epic exclusivity would be, and everything. And so he also said that he wants people to have options to buy the game. And so, yeah, wish the Epic Store would allow any games to be sold there non-exclusively as these large still unreleased games. No, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun on that. He wanted yeah, anyway, I'm sorry. What I was saying was that he wanted people to have a choice of store, and so not only is it on Steam, it's also going to be on GOG also. Okay,
cool.
So, all right, and then so where this kind of ties into it is Tim Sweeney, who's the CEO of Epic, has in the past, he's kind of said in the past, the Epic Game Store is there to be a primary competitor for Steam and everything, right? And whatnot. And he believes more platforms, more Steam games and everything. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. He said in the platform.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. So it's like, he thought, competition is good and everything. He wants to make the Epic Store as large of a platform as Steam and everything. But, you come to find out that, this developer of Dark said, hey, can I still sell? It's like, I don't want an exclusivity deal, but can I just sell my game on your platform also? And the response he got that is, Epic said, quote, they explained at this point in time, it's not something they can do. Okay? And that they don't have the bandwidth, quote unquote bandwidth, to support non-exclusive indie games right now.
What?
Yeah, but Cyberpunk is still going to be one of those wonderful multi-titled launches, so yeah, that's kind of a bit of backwards thinking there.
So that's basically the argument that they're using bandwidth as an excuse instead of just saying, no, we're not interested because we just want stuff to be exclusive and get as much money out of it as possible.
Right.
Because if you can do it with an exclusive game, you can sure as hell do it with a non-exclusive game. Like, what's the difference? There's no difference.
Right. So the thing is, or the one last thing about this is Mark Kern, who was the project lead back for a vanilla World of Warcraft back in like 2002, 2003 or so, before it came out. He said, okay, so the devs of Dark were, this is on Twitter, so the devs of Dark were approached by Epic for an exclusivity deal. They turned it down, but Epic refused to put them on the store. If true, that's not right. And then Tim Sweeney replied to him saying, hi, Mark, we're still in the early, quote-unquote, hand-curated days of the Epic Game Store, where we can only accommodate a small number of releases. My BS detector is just, like, going ham right now.
Yeah, again, Cyberpunk being on the Epic Store and Steam kind of shoots that argument down way too fast.
Yeah. And so
Unless...
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, Cyberpunk's going to be like, how big? Like 100 and something gig probably, or like 90s to 100s?
For the sake of argument, let's just say it's going to be so much bigger than Dark, so...
Right. Exactly. That's going to be a massive game. So how can you turn around and say, oh, gee, we don't have the bandwidth for probably like a 3 or 4 gig indie game? Like, what?
Right, exactly. And then it also kind of reveals the hypocrisy about the Epic Store and Tim Sweeney, where it's basically like, unless you are they'll only do multi-platform if you are a high-profile AAA game, as is the case with Cyberpunk and several other titles. Like Metro Exodus, for example, because you can do Exodus on the Epic Store or on the Microsoft Store. Or B, you either sign, if you're an indie dev, you basically either sign an exclusivity deal with Epic, or you don't sell your game on their platform. Which, you know, as an indie developer, having your game on as many platforms as possible, especially one with an uptick in growth like the Epic Store, is important. So
and let me just say, like, with being an indie dev, or indie dev's good. It's a good example as well, like having a smaller website or something like that. You don't want to be going out there and like having the few fans that you do have, and then like disappointing them and saying, oh no, we're not going to be on Steam, we're going to be on Epic. Like, I can understand the reason why you said that 100%. And for a large scale company like Epic to turn around and be like, well, no, stuff you and your audience, we're not interested. Like, I mean, you should be trying to help out indie game developers, because they've put their heart and soul into their game.
Right.
Give them a chance. Do you want their title to go ahead, or do you not want them to go ahead? Do you want their game to work, or do you not? Like, make a decision. Don't just be like, no, we want money, that's it.
Right, and the bottom line...
Well, it actually goes much... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so one last thing, I'll let you speak. So it's like, the bottom line is, like, if Tim Sweeney and Epic were, like, non-hypocritical, you know, in a perfect world, if the Epic Store worked in a way as such they've tried to market it to work in a way, or, you know, what their mission statement is, quote unquote, if it was following that, then this dev would have no problem just having his game on multiple platforms. That's the thing. But, you know, them rejecting it because he refused to sign exclusivity with Epic just kind of flies in the face of any sort of moral grandstanding that Epic and Tim Sweeney have tried to have. Anyway, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what I was actually going to say right now, because what this does is that whatever image that Epic was trying to build for them about trying to be there for the people who get overshadowed in Steam, because in fairness, the argument still stands of how if you're an indie developer and if you're trying to be on Steam only, there's a very good chance that if your game is not highly anticipated, it's going to get overshadowed by all the asset flip games and all the other miscellaneous titles that will go ahead to overshadow it. Yeah. And then at the same time, the aforementioned idea of the 88-12 split, that's, you know, it's very enchanting. That it's like something that indie developers, you know, if they took up the Epic deal, can you really blame them?
No, you can't.
Because it's like, technically, Epic is someone who does support the indies more than Steam in some degree. But then at that same time, though, when you have this situation come up, where you actually have an example of a highly anticipated game, and then all of a sudden it's like Epic's literally turning its back on them. You're going against the image that you set for yourself right there. And, and at the same time, though, the idea that they try to pull this stunt after the trailer came up with a release date, that's really underhanded. That's even more underhanded than the Kickstarters, I would say, because that's literally going after a guy who just announced that it's going to be coming on the scene at this date, and then telling them to go exclusive right after that. That's even worse than Kickstarter, in all honesty.
Right.
And it's very interesting that GOG's gone out, who's CD Projekt Red. You know, their store's pretty darn small. Like, sure, they do have a couple of different titles on their store that isn't really CD Projekt Red, but it's interesting that they've kind of gone out of their way and said, yeah, we'll take it, no worries.
Yeah.
We're just a developer, you know, we don't really, our store is just, it's like the Bethesda store or something like that. It's, you know, usually only sells Bethesda games or CD Projekt Red games. So it's interesting that they've kind of said, yeah, no worries, we'll have it.
Yeah, no, over the years, GOG has Good Old Games there. I was trying to think of what the acronym stood for. Has really expanded like the library outside of just like CD Projekt Red stuff, which is good for the industry also, because GOG may not also has a lot of like really well done ported like older titles and everything. Like we're talking about like late 90s, early 2000s PC games that have had some technical work done to them by CD Projekt Red and have been like pushed onto the GOG store so that they work better with modern systems and everything, which is all fine and good. And then we also see them starting to dip their toes into the indie space also. And, you know, the one advantage that GOG has over, say, Steam or whatever is just like, you know, for the minimal amounts of like DRM that Steam has, which is digital rights management that Steam has, GOG has absolutely zero. That's the thing. So.
Yeah. Again, though, we're just kind of at that point to where it's like, at this point, Epic is not doing themselves any favors to go ahead and be trying to build up any kind of steam for themselves, no pun intended, to go ahead and get people interested in their service. It feels like that every time that, you know, Epic is trying to do something for themselves, it literally just either shoots right back at them and blows up, or otherwise it's stories like this that come up to go ahead to, you know, continue to expose Epic for, you know, not necessarily being one for the gamer, but one for the money.
Right.
So it's like, you know, how many more stories are we going to get until it's like Epic finally starts to actually take their online service seriously?
Well,
I don't think they will, to be honest. I reckon they're just going to keep
I know,
going.
it's a redundant question to ask, but, you know, unfortunately, it's like, you know, for all the times that we go ahead and bash on Epic, and then, you know, as we try to also be objective to it, because it's like, you know, obviously Epic is still doing a few things right, even though if the few things you could count with just 2 fingers, but you know, at that same point though, it's like at some point Epic needs to go ahead to actually start taking this seriously, to go ahead to actually take the whole idea of trying to be the competitor to Steam and actually do something, because, you know, Steam still hasn't done anything to actually address the Epic issue, because it's like, you know, what's the point?
They don't really have to. They don't really have to.
At this rate, they don't really have to, because, like...
I mean, Steam basically knows that they're still on top. They don't need to do anything. Well, Epic, they shoot themselves in the foot at any given moment. So it's like, you know, if I was Epic, I would be getting pissed off right now that, you know, no matter what's being done right now, Steam is still, you know, just laughing off in the corner because they don't have to lift a finger to do anything. They need to be, you know, they need to shape up the store and actually do something instead of tell people that in about 6+ months you're finally going to get your shopping cart.
Yeah, you know, it's just like Steam is just kind of like, you know, standing there as they've always been, just trying to minding their own business. It's business as usual. Nothing's really changing for them. And then over in the corner, there's Epic that's just kind of like hurting themselves constantly, you know, and just like kind of self-destructing slowly.
Honestly, I would use the analogy of the Daffy Duck cartoon of Daffy Duck as Robin Hood. That's Epic, while Steam is the sheriff, just hopping along on the horse, basically acting as though nothing's happening, and Epic's doing all these things to try to go ahead and throw off the sheriff.
Yeah.
But it's like every single time they're hitting a tree.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, look, at the end of the day...
Do something. Stop Fortnite support, or at least dial it back some.
At the end of the day, Epic is a business. Like, you... For those of you who are listening or whatever and just think, oh, you know, we're toxic against Epic or this or that or whatever. Epic's a business. They've got to do what they've got to do starting out. That's no worries at all. Like, take as many exclusives as you can. Do whatever you can to build. That's fine. No worries. But at this stage, you should have basic infrastructure in place, like a shopping cart, support, you know, all this different stuff. What the hell are they doing? Do they want their business to go ahead, or do they not want it to go ahead? Like, what's your plan at the end of the day? What are you going to do? Are you just going to stay in the same little niche and act like morons?
Right.
Or are you going to actually jump up and be like, hey, okay, we'll support indies. We'll give ourselves a shopping cart. We'll add in support.
There's also a fairly, I forget who, or this is a related story, and I forget who other unrelated to Epic kind of higher level developer was talking about this. But he said how it was just like, this developer was bringing a game to the Epic Store or whatever, and he wanted to know about, you know, what sort of infrastructure does the Epic Store have planned, because, you know, he recognized those bare bones. And so Tim Sweeney presented him with a roadmap, and, you know, he presented him with a roadmap and, you know, goals, deadline dates and everything for X amount of features of the Epic Store. And he said that it's like, based on it's like looking at it today, based on the roadmap, they are at least 3 to 4 months behind, if not more in some areas, in development of the Epic Store.
Got some ASMR cat purring going on right now.
I can hear it. It's very faint. It's very cute.
That's more than what Epic has done.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know.
That was a bit of a stretch. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's like,
fair.
It just comes back to the same thing about, you know, the Epic Store and everything. The whole thing surrounding that. It's like, it's very half-assed, to put it blunt. You know. It's like, you know, they want to be a true competitor to Steam. It's like you needed to have launched feature parity with Steam, you know?
Precisely.
You can't be turning games down just because, oh, you don't like their exclusivity deal or something, you know?
Yeah, support them anyway, because at least they're going to get more exposure on the Epic Store than possibly Steam, and therefore, if that's the possibility, then guess what? More people may buy on Steam, or buy on Epic than Steam, and therefore you get more money in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that sense, that should be considered a win.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, as a business as well, wouldn't you kind of want to see how you stack up against Steam? Like, at least, as you said, Taylor, feature parity with them, you know?
Right.
Maybe just do like a trial period, like a beta of a shopping cart, support, this, that, everything else.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, we're going to add all these games for 3 months, see how we do, and see if this is the right path for us.
Right. The thing,
And
it's like... Oh, no, keep going.
They're at this stage where they really need to do that, because they're... How long's Epic been around for? The Epic's still been around for, what, a year now or something like that?
Question.
Oh,
A year?
I don't know.
Like, I mean,
It
mainstream,
actually
like
launched
they're
on
worth...
December 6th. So
Okay.
it's like we are kind of like, once we hit September, it's been 9 months since
Since it's been
the Epic Store
mainstream in a
launched.
sense.
So it's like, yeah, no, at this point, it's like, do we really want to get to December 2019 and start seeing articles of Epic Store 1 year later? What have they accomplished?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, you know they're coming, right? Like, you know those
Yeah, no,
articles
they're
are
gonna be
planned and coming.
Article idea, let's do it.
Yeah, it's like they're on every
Winter's coming,
editor's
as is the
schedule.
Epic Store articles, my friends.
Right, exactly. Nice. So, you know, the argument that people make also in defense of the Epic Store is like, oh, you know, Steam never had these features when it launched. Well, okay, that was 2002, 2003, or whatever, okay?
Yeah.
And there was no other digital store like Steam at the time, okay?
And
And
the
so-
internet was new, like shopping online was new.
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah,
had
can
to add all these features for this
When
audience.
EA
that was
launched
all-
when EA launched their digital storefront Origin and everything, for PC gaming,
When was that?
huh? It was
When was
years
that?
ago. It was years ago, like 20.
2007 or
ago.
something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like it had more features than the Epic Store does now.
Yeah.
That's the yeah.
EA's the money grabbers, and yet even they put in time in their stores so that it would actually be worthwhile.
Right, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah, Ubisoft did the same thing
Madness.
too. GOG launched same. It's like there's a basic set of features where the excuse of oh Steam has had 17 years or ever long to build it or whatever just doesn't hold up because you see all these other examples that have entered the market in the past decade or so have
Yeah,
just
so there's a
basic
UI
stuff.
that you stick to.
Yeah, just basic stuff, you know.
Yeah,
It's
if they
still
lay down the
UI.
groundwork,
Yeah.
don't worry about copying whatever they did because it's like, you know, obviously everyone else has done it and that makes sense. It's like someone who decided to make a car without seatbelts because they didn't get around to discovering what seatbelts were yet. It's like, we don't need seatbelts.
It's fine.
It's like, no, seatbelts are needed for cars. And it's like, shopping carts are needed for stores.
right.
It's like, connect the dots here. It's like, you don't need to be defending Epic because, you know, if, like I said before, I have made points as to why Epic is better than Steam. I would be more than happy to point out the, you know, the positives of Epic over Steam. But then at the same time, though, we have to call out the nonsense that the Epic Store has put before us time and time again for obvious reasons.
Right.
And then they
Can't
ban
everyone
you
stupidity.
for buying 4 games because you can't put them all in one cart.
So to do
Like,
one purchase
brilliant.
after another, and they ban you for making too many purchases in a short span of
Exactly.
time. Yeah, it's like, God.
Or
Ugh.
add a friggin' shopping cart. It's not hard to do.
Yeah, it's like we may be repeating the same points week after week, but then at the same point, though, it's like at that same point, though, it's like, well, maybe we'll stop saying these things once they
When they
actually
do it.
put them in.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like you want to stop the criticism, do something about it, or
Right.
otherwise the criticism will just keep coming.
Look,
Epic, listen to the Power Up podcast. Come on.
look, okay.
We want to
Epic.
see you actually make a dent in Steam. Come on now, please.
Epic. The beatings will continue until morale improves, okay?
Until you listen to the
Don't
Power
make me
Up
get my
podcast.
weapons.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So one last little kind of thought exercise related to this. What would we feel if Epic allowed, say, you know, Dark on their platform, even though it's not an exclusive, but took a bigger cut So, you know, the standard Epic cut, which is one of their big, like, marketing strategies against Steam, is like 88% goes to the developers, 12% goes to Epic and everything. What if for non-exclusive games, Epic had it so that, you know, maybe it was Steam's model of 70-30, or maybe even higher than that, 60-40? You know, what do you think about that?
What's Steam's?
70-30 across the board.
70-30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the developer gets 70%, Steam takes 30%.
That's really hard to say because, like I said before, that one could go ahead and say that the biggest advantage that you would have being on Epic instead of Steam is the exposure. That if you want to actually get your game seen, that Epic will be more than happy to go ahead and put you on the front page so that you're actually getting your game seen, as opposed to Steam that has to try to promote so many games that are getting released on its platform every day, it seems.
Right.
But as for the cutting down the price, it does feel like that they're good and that they would go ahead and kneecap themselves if they were to actually try to even go to that point. Because it's like, if you think about it, it's like, okay, so you're going to get Borderlands 3 alongside with any other developer who, you know, any AAA developer that 8812, but then you're going to be kneecapping people who go non-exclusive with the, you know, 70-30, 60-40 or whatever, and it's like, that's not going to be a really good image, I would say, in the long run.
Really? Okay.
I mean, mind you, that perhaps I may be missing a few details, so if that's the case, you know, so minus 5 points off me, but otherwise, I feel like that there's a positive and a negative to that, and I don't really know what outweighs the other, essentially.
Okay.
Personally, I mean, if this allowed them to add in features like a cart, support, all this kind of thing, maybe they're, who knows, maybe they're running out of money. But I mean, if they're
running out of money,
well, paying people to do advertising and all this kind of stuff, and to say, hey, we'll give you 500,000 if you come on our platform or whatever.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe they blew development budget on lobbying money. Anyway.
Maybe they did. Who knows?
In Fortnite, they just had a giant robot fight a monster, and it ended with the robot doing a one-armed floss. I'm pretty sure they still have plenty of money to burn if they went through all that trouble.
Okay, I'm sorry, Anthony, keep going.
I mean, personally, if this allowed them to add in a shopping cart or whatever to their store and to better their store or whatever, then sure, no worries. But I don't see them needing to do this. I see them... The fact is, they've said what they've said. This is their promise. You know, it's like their, you know, buy a car, get 12 months warranty, whatever. This is like their buyer promise, or like their seller promise, whatever you want to call it. So I don't see them kind of going against that. But at the same time, I don't see them improving their store either. So if they took a bigger cut and it promised to improve their UI for their store and this and that and everything else, I'd be happy with it. But I don't see them doing that, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
Because of what they've said previously.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I feel like this would have worked out a lot better if Epic had the I feel like everything would be a little bit easier to swallow from Epic if they had an alternative besides, you know, being exclusive or die. You know, so it's like, I don't know. It's like, if I was the Dart developer, it's like, sure, I would have turned down Epic exclusivity. But if they said, hey, you can still put your game on our store, we'll just take a larger cut, I would still take that also. You know? It's like, I would take that.
Yeah, again, that's exposure.
Yeah.
You're getting your game seen. So it's like, that's understandable to that degree.
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of coming from with it. All right. Anything else to say about Epic, or have we completed the first star of the Pentagram of Rage this week?
Yeah, I think
we got our point across.
Okay. All right. So, Anthony, Trouble in New York, Spider-Man Land. What's going on?
So, this is a two-fronted attack right now. So, the first little bit of news comes from Kotaku, that Sony has basically purchased Insomniac Games, which is the guys who developed Spider-Man, obviously, last year.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, it was last year. Was it last year or this year? Last year.
Last year,
cool. There is no mention of how much money they've paid for it in this article, at least coming from Kotaku. Basically, a lot of the workers who were working for Insomniac were very surprised when Sony was like, hey, we're going to come in and buy Insomniac and you guys are going to stay on and all that kind of thing. A lot of employees thought that Sony already owned Insomniac, which is, I find, a little strange.
Okay.
And basically, Insomniac was founded in 1994, and they've been doing their own thing. They've made Ratchet and Clank and all that kind of stuff, and Sony's obviously just purchased them.
Yeah. Just to be clear, that is Sony Interactive Entertainment purchased Insomniac.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. But just to also mention very fast, if I could.
Yeah.
Because from what I've been hearing, because I was posting on various medias where it's like, I'm kind of shocked that it took this long for them to buy Insomniac, because you would think that after Spyro, after Ratchet and Clank, and all the other games that Insomniac has put out, that it wasn't until Spider-Man that it's like, okay, so I guess they finally decided to buy them at this point. But apparently that, from what I heard from other people online, was that apparently Sony has made the attempt to buy Insomniac on multiple occasions. But every time that they have, it's like, either the deal went through, didn't go through, or otherwise Insomniac was like, thank you, but we still want to be doing our own thing. But
really,
and that's why we got Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox One. But other than that, though, that it's like, yeah, I guess that it finally reached a point to where it's like, Sony, I guess, really wanted to put their foot down and just drag them in, whether if they want to or not, after the success of Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, which is totally understandable. Yeah. And, if anything else, a lot of people were happy that, that this has finally happened. And especially with the upcoming next generation, that's like, with both sides grabbing as many studios as they can. It's like Insomniac with Sony seems to make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. It's like, this is kind of in line with the posturing Microsoft is doing also, where it's like, they're gearing up. It's like the next gen, I guarantee the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet are going to be so interchangeable when it comes to hardware that one's not going to be if there's any difference between the performance of the two, just based on what we know so far, it will be minuscule and probably within 5 to 10% of each other. So it's like, at that point, it becomes, all right, games. What games you got?
Well, games and controllers, but mostly games.
Yeah. I mean, we know the DualShock 5, right? That's going to be a thing. Anyway. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the design of the Xbox controller seems ever so smooth.
Yeah. All right.
Personally, I think Sony's gone in and purchased Insomniac because of this next bit of news. This is actually movie news, so this is going off the whole video game only side of things. So this is relating to the whole MCU and kind of Sony purchasing Spider-Man back in the 80s. So a bit of history for those of you who don't know. Sony purchased the rights to Spider-Man
licensing
back in the licensing to Spider-Man back in the 80s. Now this is Sony, whatever the heck they're called, Sony Entertainment, I guess it is, the people who make the movies.
Sony Pictures.
There you go. So back in the 80s, Marvel was going through a very hard time and was basically about to go bankrupt, and they licensed out or sold licensing to a heap of characters, i.e. X-Men, Fantastic Four, Fox picked those guys up. Sony picked up Spider-Man. The Raimi, whatever his first name is, bunch of Spider-Man movies, Taylor's favorite
ones. The ones with Tobey Maguire.
Yep, the ones with Tobey Maguire were Sony movies. They had nothing to do with Marvel at all.
Yeah.
Marvel was on these movies that were made back in the early 2000s and whatever. Marvel was basically making around 5% on each movie made. Whether it was Fox, whether it was Sony, they were making extremely minuscule amounts of money. So that's why basically Marvel decided to go ahead and make the MCU and put in characters like Iron Man and all that kind of thing. And going then off this, on Wednesday, Sony confirmed reports that the producing deal between the company and Disney, between Sony and Disney, employee Marvel chief Kevin Feige, I think that's how you say it, would end, thus allowing him to leave the franchise without Feige's guidance, and effectively removes Spider-Man from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Feige's team had been credited with giving the character a lighter touch that blended wisecracks and teen angst in a way that was truer to the original comics. Recently, Sony and Marvel had made nice and decided to put, whoever the heck wrote this article, I've got no idea, pout Spider-Man in the MCU instead of put Spider-Man in the MCU.
Fascinating.
However, Sony was making around 5% on profits from the actual like all the figurines and stuff that was being sold relating to the movies, like Avengers Endgame, you know, Spider-Man Homecoming. Disney was raking in all the profits for the figurines and like the other, you know, things that went along with the movies.
Sony was making
merchandise deal, precisely.
Yeah.
Sony was making the majority of profits off the movie, but they were not happy with Disney or Marvel taking in all the profits from the merchandising.
Makes sense.
Disney/Marvel went back to Sony with a pitch of 50-50, meaning, you know, merchandising they'll get 50% of everything, 50% of, you know, production costs. You know, Sony would split it with Disney, and Sony turned it down and has removed rights from Spider-Man returning to the MCU. Kevin Feige has been withdrawn from the Spider-Man movies, to which Sony responded, stating he had other projects to work on that Disney has just acquired from Fox, i.e. Hulk, Fantastic Four, X-Men, etc. So there's also rumors about this, saying that basically Sony's playing that down and making out that it's not that big of a deal, even though Feige's done some absolutely amazing things with the whole MCU and everything. He's basically brought Marvel back on track. Disney may buy the movies outright, i.e. Homecoming and Far From Home, to add to Disney Plus, because it's like a split thing. They can't actually add those movies to Disney Plus, their streaming platform, whenever that gets up and running next year. This is extremely technical.
No, I know. I'm just saying, it's just like, oh man.
Yeah,
money.
no, it's
I'm just imagining the dollar signs for these things, you know?
Yeah. So that would, of course, the profits would go to Sony, however much is outlaying.
Mm-hmm.
Tying this up, this would basically mean any Spider-Man games made by Insomniac in future would be set outside of the MCU and feature a completely different Spider-Man. Also, Disney were the ones who pitched the Spider-Man game to Insomniac. Mind you, this was before Insomniac was purchased by Sony. Obviously, Sony had to agree to it, of course, because they owned the licensing for it, or the rights. For now, it seems there will not be another Spider-Man game in the future. The majority, I've already said that. So basically, that's wrapping the whole thing up as far as I reckon. Basically, Sony's gone out and purchased Insomniac, because Insomniac's gone and made Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I reckon they've kind of purchased Insomniac because they're like, well, they made a Spider-Man game, we own Spider-Man. You know, we're going to get them to make a whole heap of more Spider-Man content, that could mean.
Yeah.
So what do we think of this whole Spider-Man rigmarole
drama
garbage?
Drama.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Sony as a company, okay, is what's known in the business world as a conglomerate, okay?
Yeah.
Meaning there's kind of one central this is weird to explain, but I guess it's almost like, okay, so you look at Activision Blizzard, okay?
Yeah.
There are two like entities under Activision Blizzard, and they operate semi-independently from each other. There's Activision, of course, and then there's Blizzard Entertainment, who are owned by the parent company, Activision Blizzard. Sony Corporation is like one big, like sort of parent company, so to speak. You know, they're kind of one big, like one big piece, and then within them are multiple semi-independent divisions that may or may not talk to each other or the parent company, just as how large they are. And you know, all the divisions of Sony are, there's the electronic products and solutions, which, you know, they would make their phones, laptops, and not cameras, that's another division, but you know, their phones, laptops, speakers, stuff like that. The consumer electronic side of things. There's Sony.
They don't make laptops anymore.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, Rip Vio. Sony Financial Holdings,
exactly.
which is like a sort of bank. I don't want to say banking, but it's just like, it manages the money for everything, which most people have this. Interactive Entertainment, which is the video game side of things. You know, your PlayStation. They're the people who bought Insomniac. There's Sony Music, which I don't know what they've done lately. There's Sony Pictures, which, you know, would have been dealing with Disney here and all this. And then there's Sony Imaging and Sensing Solutions, which is their picture thing. And so the thing is, though, it's just like, when you get a company or a corporation that's split up like this and whatnot, it's kind of unclear whether or not Interactive Entertainment, which bought Insomniac, would have been talking to Pictures about this whole thing, you know, at the same time. Because, you know, maybe they could have said, it's like, Pictures told them, it's like, hey, you know, we're having some trouble with the whole Spider-Man licensing thing. So maybe that happened.
I just find it very interesting that they were bought. Basically, Insomniac was bought, and Sony split from Marvel at exactly the same time, basically within a day of each other.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion, it's extremely.
Yeah, the timing is good. It was really good. You couldn't talk about one without the other because of how closely they both happened.
So it seems like it was kind of an attack on multiple fronts in a sense to kind of wound Marvel.
Or there is kind of like the alternative theory to that is just like Sony Pictures said, hey, we're gonna have trouble, or it's like kind of knew something was brewing about a licensing deal with Spider-Man, because I mean these deals don't happen overnight by any means, you know. These are multiple weeks, if not a couple months of talks and everything between higher level executives.
Yeah, actually,
a year.
This whole deal came up last year, and Sony basically completely ignored it.
Okay.
And we're like, we don't want to discuss this yet.
Yeah.
And then the Far From Home movies and all the Spider-Man movies were made, and Endgame and all that. Yeah. And then basically a couple of weeks before the deal expired between Marvel and Sony, Sony's like, no, we're not doing it, we're pulling out.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So, yeah, as I was saying, though, it's like, yeah, these deals take a long time to happen and everything. And, yeah, it could have been, it's like, hey, you know, it's like, we don't want Disney to snap, you know, Spider-Man on PS4 was a really good seller for Sony and everything. And it's like, hey, we don't want anything bad to happen. Or not anything bad, but rather it's like, excuse me, we don't want Disney to acquire Insomniac and then put out a baller Spider-Man game and get the money from that. Or something, you know, so just like, let's acquire it before Disney can.
Now, the interesting thing here is with Marvel, what are they called? Marvel Entertainment Games, or whatever they're called. I can't remember what they're called. Do they own because games are obviously separate to movies, but would Marvel technically in their game division own own Spider-Man as a character?
No. Because, so, in the original deal in the 80s, Sony...
That's everything.
Sony bought the full creative and licensing rights to Spider-Man from Marvel. So it's more like, so despite, you know, Spider-Man being a character created by Marvel, Sony owns him.
Tell you what, lucky they didn't put Spider-Man in the Avengers game. That'd be awkward.
That would have been hellish.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone kind of thinks that it could happen because of how they said that the Avengers game was going to have PlayStation 4 exclusive content or whatever. Therefore, I was kind of under the impression that it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Sony's going to go ahead and be shoveling Spider-Man in as an exclusive character or something, or an exclusive Spider-Man mission, because, of course, Sony would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, who knows? It could still happen. But I kind of feel like that at this point, I'm kind of worried about what might happen, because I did double check something, because at the time when all this was going on about the whole Spider-Man being, you know, Spider-Man getting cut or whatever, it did look like that Sony's stock did actually drop like a point or two at around that time. So I guess stockholders wasn't exactly all too thrilled about Spider-Man being taken away again from the MCU. But I'm kind of also wondering, like, what's Spider-Man's future going to be? Because it's not like the same situation like with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Because during that whole time when they were with 20th Century Fox, you know, while all those horrific movies were being made, you know, some better than others, but I don't recall anyone saying that there was a good Fantastic Four movie lately in the last decade or two. But,
hey, man,
you know, in the comics, we were seeing a lot of examples of, you know, the Immortals, or, you know, something to that degree where it was basically just writing out mutants. Like, you did not see any mutants at all.
Yeah.
And I kind of find it fascinating, because it's like, after the 20th century takeover, like at around that time, we started to, or at least me anyway, I started to see, like, you know, oh, okay, well, here comes the interest for X-Men again. That, you know, Dr. Doom could be in the MCU. Awesome. But then it's like, at that same point, could we be looking at a case, or, here, let me start over with that, because Spider-Man is such an iconic character within Marvel.
Yeah.
Could Marvel start to write off Spider-Man? And I feel like that they may start trying to, you know, grind away at it, even though it's going to be kind of hard to do, because Spider-Man is the face of Marvel.
I don't know.
They can't do anything.
Yeah, that's the thing, though.
No, they can't do anything, but what they can do is that, you know, we're going to be making TV shows with no Spider-Man. We can be making more comics without Spider-Man. We could be making more everything that's not movies with Sony or whatever, not Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's like, and again, with the X-Men films and the Fantastic Four films, it's like you could say that that plan worked because all this stuff with Fantastic Four and X-Men were not good. I don't recall people saying that Dark Phoenix was the perfect send-off for the X-Men with 20th Century Fox, let alone Fantastic.
I heard that movie tanked.
Yeah, it was
hard.
Okay, hard.
It takes so hard that it made you think that, okay, they probably did this because they knew that there was nowhere else to go but down.
Which didn't tarnish the brand. Screwed it.
Yeah, it's like, at this point, it's like, it's basically just blowing up the dumpster fire with more gasoline at this point. Yeah. And just watching the fire just kill itself off at that point. But honestly, I'm just not too sure about the future of Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
really sketchy, I would say. At least with Sony, you could at least say that, okay, well, Sony will probably take good care of Spider-Man, but outside of that...
no, they won't. They did the Andrew Garfield movies. No, they won't.
Didn't they also do Into the Spider-Verse, though?
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. It's like for every negative, there's a positive. At least with Spider-Man, you could at least say that at least there was an up for every down, as opposed to 20th Century Fox, where it was like 5 lows before they finally got an up.
Yeah,
and that was only because they had to get their arm twisted to make Deadpool's 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I think Into the Spider-Verse is co-developed with Marvel, maybe.
Well, I mean, technically all the Spider-Man movies would have been co-developed by Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's also kind of part of the licensing deal. Yeah. The way I this movie is almost a full 2 hours. Nice. Anyway, I'm sorry. I have the Into the Spider-Verse wiki page pulled up. Just double check who saw it.
I need to watch that.
Sony of the I don't know, of the 6 Spider-Man movies Sony has made under their belt entirely, so the Tobey Maguire ones, the Andrew Garfield ones, and then Into the Spider-Verse now, you know, 4 out of 6 ain't bad. 4 out of 6 good movies ain't bad, for a property.
What do you mean, 1 out of 6? What are you on about?
No, he said 4 out of 6.
The Tobey Maguire ones were bad,
They were better than Andrew Garfield, and they were amazing. Sure. They were amazing.
I don't know. Okay. Spider-Man 3 is kind of a coin flip on how much you want to suffer, honestly.
I think 1 and 2 and 3,
Okay, anyway. Alright, you know what? That's neither here nor there.
Personal opinion.
Yeah, you know what? That's neither here nor there. So, I don't know. Disney... Disney is either going to have to be willing to pony up the immense amount of cash that Sony no doubt wants after this to use Spider-Man and Marvel stuff, or...
I mean, they could pretty easily.
Yeah, they could, but it's like so much of this is just like, you know, Disney and Marvel wanting to be greedy. I think it's like you want to paint this as like, oh, you know, there's a villain in this. In my opinion, I think Disney is kind of the villain in this whole thing. You know.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's like everyone's split on this. There's just as many people that blame Sony as Disney on this.
Right.
But in the end, everyone loses because it's like Spider-Man doesn't win.
And it's like,
I don't know.
Who knows? We don't know how much money Sony was asking, though, right? So.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. But apparently, according to what I've read, Disney came back with a 50-50 deal, and they were open to negotiation. And Sony was just immediately, nah, we're not interested in any parting of the character at all. We're interested in taking back rights and doing whatever we want with it. I think because they saw, probably because, maybe Disney's fault, probably because they saw the potential that Spider-Man has and how much Marvel was making off of the Homecoming movies and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, money, let's do it.
Well, no, Disney already knew about it because, again, there's, like, God knows how many cartoons of Spider-Man. I don't know how many times Uncle Ben has been murdered at this point, but, you know, for Disney XD, I could have sworn there was, like, 2-3 different Spider-Man shows that were running throughout the years. So it's like, no, Disney is fully aware that Spider-Man is a commodity to, you know, take with both hands and start shaking.
Right.
Mm. And personally, I reckon Disney's just going to go out and say, okay, we want to buy the character back. How much are you asking for? Because there's so much potential for them to make more money.
Yeah. It is partially... This is a little bit of stereotyping here. It is partially difficult talking to a Japanese corporation in terms of money and everything to buy such a high level character, because if you basically have to say what's your asking price first before coming to them with an offer of a dollar amount, because they could just as easily, and there are multiple instances of this happening over the years. Look at some of the deals Nintendo has made over the years, licensing out characters also. I just let you know, you come to them with an offer they think is too low, they get very offended and they don't want anything to do with you. So I wonder if that's a little bit of that coming into play
Yeah,
here.
it could be.
Yeah, there's so many miscellaneous levels to the story that it's not as cut as dry as so many people online try to make it off to be.
Okay.
Is Hulk owned by Sony or Fox?
Oh, probably Fox. At Fox at some point, yeah. I think they were at Fox.
Sure.
But then, you know...
So it's owned by Disney now.
Yeah, that's now Disney. Alright, I
I
guess...
think at this point, Spider-Man's the only one that seems to be out of the loop at this point.
So to wrap it all up then, where does Spider-Man stand right now, Anthony?
So, it's a bit... So, no movies have been discussed at all as far as what Sony's going to do with the character. No games have been discussed. Marvel is completely out of the loop now as far as Spider-Man's concerned. If anything is made in the future, like without there being a deal made or anything like that, all rights will belong to Sony, all money will go to Sony. Marvel will get their 5% cut, which is what the licensing deal agrees to. Same with games, same with anything like that. But there's nothing in the future lined up for Spider-Man as of yet, because this is all still very new.
Okay. But
I
currently
mean,
he's
something
under...
could change in the future, but until then, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But currently he's under the banner of Sony. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else to say about Spiderman?
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 Nah, I don't think so.
The mini spiders of men? I don't know. Anyway, so Mike...
Of course, Spider-Man is going to be from that Flash where it's like he just shoots webs all over the place just to drag himself along the floor to get anywhere.
Yeah, right.
That's his future, unfortunately, until further notice.
Into the Spider-Verse is a good movie. Anyway,
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Whatever. Anyway, Mike, so you're going to talk about Stadia, and therefore we're going to achieve the second point of the Pentagram of Rage this week. So, go for it.
I mean, kind of at this point, that, you know, Stadia is in that position right now to where it's like we don't exactly know if we could consider them to be the good guys or the bad guys. Because up to this point, it's that everyone seems to be looking at Stadia as pure incompetence. Because, you know, we don't exactly know what the future holds.
Yeah.
But apparently that over this last week, of course, it was Gamescom. We'll be talking more about that in a bit, of course. But, you know, Stadia did go ahead and take this time to have their Stadia Direct, which, you know, looks oddly familiar to a certain other company's presentation. I'm, of course, talking about Devolver.
Oh.
But that's beside the point.
Oh, cool. Sure.
Yeah.
But yes, they did go ahead and talk about the games coming to Stadia. I don't think I saw the release date for it, but then I was only watching it sparingly. But they did go to showcase a whole bunch of games that we already knew were coming out on other platforms, so who the hell cares?
Sure.
They did talk about a game called Darksiders Genesis, which is like a Diablo-style game, which, again, that's cool, but it's like everyone kind of saw that one coming. But then they mentioned this one game. And this game is kind of near and dear to my heart because it's like it was like one of those games that I kind of connected to quite a bit, and that was Orcs Must Die. That they did announce that I can't say orc. I'm sorry. Orcs Must Die 3 is going to be coming to Stadia, and it's actually going to be launching exclusively on Stadia first.
Time exclusive.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking more about the idea of Orcs Must Die here in just a moment as well. But yes, we are now in that position to where we have now established that Stadia is indeed planning to do exclusive games. Not sure what to think about that, actually.
So, wait a second. Way back when they first announced Stadia, didn't they say that they were doing some developer or whatever was jumping on board to do exclusives? Who was that?
Oh.
I'm not too sure who that was, honestly.
Yeah.
It slips my mind, but everyone just played it off for last because it's like, you can't be serious on this.
It's like Lamau, yeah, right. You know,
I mean,
I feel like people aren't taking
mind.
Stadia serious enough to be like, you know, this is a bad idea, this is a bad product, Google needs to stop, please don't do this. But
look at the Stadia Reddit.
I've been there a few times.
I don't want to. I'm scared about looking at the Reddit.
You look at, so it's
But
like, I wrote an article a couple weeks ago about why Stadia is a garbage idea. And, you know, it's like, we posted it to the Stadia subreddit, and it got a ton of hate.
Yeah.
The joys of just exposing a dumpster fire.
Exactly.
Just watching the flames just burn up into the air.
Okay, so do you know what? The question needs to be asked. What is better? What is worse? Stadia exclusivity or Epic exclusivity?
And that's the thing that is really questionable at this point, because we still don't have any idea how Stadia is going to work. We've just been getting told that it'll just work, period.
Right.
But we don't know how it's going to extend out beyond that, and that's where a lot of concerns is, because at least we know that Epic just can't be trusted at this point, seemingly.
Right.
But Stadia is kind of in that weird standpoint where it's like, they're pitching it to us, but no one's going to swing, because how can we trust it?
Right. And
So it's like,
I think that's
to
like
see Orcs must... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, or it's like, I think it's like within... I think I'd be more open to this if Stadia had actually come out and been a thing for a couple months, and then it's like a dev has said, yeah, we're doing exclusivity or timed exclusivity with Stadia. I think that would be a bit better than preemptively having this on Stadia as an exclusive,
Yeah.
you know? I don't understand why any dev would sign an exclusivity deal with a product that we're not even certain will function or will be well received by consumers. That's the thing.
And I do have to touch up on that too, because again, I have to talk about Orcs Must Die in just a bit more detail.
Sure.
Because as you can imagine, with Orcs Must Die being seemingly one of the first, if not the first games to be Stadia exclusive, a lot of people were up in arms about it, especially those who enjoyed Orcs Must Die 1 and 2 and Unchained before that game shut down. Over on the Reddit for Orcs Must Die, there was a clarification, or a post titled, Clarification from Robot Entertainment on Orcs Must Die 3 Stadia exclusivity. I'm stuttering on my words, I apologize.
It's okay.
So how the post goes, and it goes as follows. Hi all, I'm Patrick Hudson, the CEO of Robot Entertainment. Orcs Must Die 3 is a timed exclusive on Stadia. Background on that decision. After shutting down Orcs Must Die Unchained, Robot had to downsize our studio. We had resized and focused on smaller games other than the Orcs Must Die series. We didn't know when or if we'd get back to the Orcs Must Die franchise. We met with Google to learn about the Stadia for our other projects. We discovered the people at Google were big fans of Orcs Must Die. That led to the exploration of what might be possible with an Orcs Must Die game on Stadia. We're both excited about our ideas and decided to go after it. Orcs Must Die 3 would not be possible today without Google support. They are behind the game in a big way. We hired developers to bring it back to life. It's the Orcs Must Die game that fans of the first two games have been wanting, and we're thrilled that we have the opportunity to make it. When Orcs Must Die 3, starring, I apologize, releases in spring 2020, it will be a timed exclusive on Stadia. We'll say more about other platforms in the future. We're having a lot of fun playing Orcs Must Die 3 inside the studio, and we hope you love it as much as we do. So,
yeah, inside the studio.
Besides
on our
my
PCs.
throat just
PCs, yeah.
yeah. So besides my throat just drying out, since I'm going to be drinking some water here in just a moment.
Yeah.
I will admit that I did go and write a story on this, and I did actually applaud Robot Entertainment's openness to this, because with all these stories we've heard about how people who take the Epic deal and how so many of the people kind of treated their fans either like idiots or the whole, well, you don't understand how good the deal is, or, seemingly asinine responses, that the response from the CEO of Robot Entertainment really did seem genuine. That it was like, and that kind of falls back to what we were talking about for Dark, that it's like one thing that he said about in his story, the developer of Dark, he said that every developer's has a different story to them. It's like everyone has a unique circumstance. Yeah. So it's like whatever happened with me will not be the same with other people. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Robot Entertainment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah.
Yeah, Robot Entertainment's statement is super duper in line with what Tripwire told us at E3. So at E3 this year, we went to go see Tripwire and play a few of their games and everything. And while we were waiting for another group to get out of the game presentation, we were talking to one of the PR representatives there that were kind of handling us and everything. We're just having friendly chatting conversation. And, in a very respectful manner and, conversational way, I brought up, it's like, it was just like, I told them, it's like, honestly, it's like I sympathize with a lot of the people who don't like that, chivalry Medieval Warfare 2 is going to be an Epic Games Store exclusive, especially considering that game's long history and legacy on Steam and everything.
Yeah.
And he said, it's like, you know, we've been hearing that a lot from people that have been coming by us, talking to us and everything, etc., etc. But, you know, our stance on it is just like, Epic made us a very generous offer, and we took it so that we can make the games the best they could be and everything. So now we don't have to worry about funding as much, which, to be fair, is a fair reason. You know, it's like, you know, that's a fair reason, and that does sound super duper in line with what Robot is saying about Orcs Must Die 3. They're like, hey, you know, we kind of want to make this game, we are kind of strapped for cash, what avenues do we have to get funding for this? And it seems like Robot Entertainment found Google and was just like, yeah, Stadia.
So there's actually 3 exclusives that Stadia has so far.
Okay.
So the first one is Get Packed, which is a top-down multiplayer game for up to 4 players. Developed by Coat Sync, and it's going to be a Stadia exclusive. The other one that I was thinking was Tequila Works, which is a Stadia-only developer, which is developing Guild. That was the one that was announced during the very first Stadia event announcement thing, whatever it was, and the guy went on stage and did an interview and whatever. To me, with Stadia isn't an exclusive platform. It shouldn't be. They shouldn't aim to have exclusive games, in my opinion. It is a platform for people who can't afford or don't want to pay $500 for a console, or like $1,000 for a PC. In my opinion, everything, if Stadia goes ahead, should go to Stadia, because that way everybody can have access to whatever. Whether, obviously not PlayStation 5 exclusives or Xbox One exclusives or whatever. But in my opinion, it is a all-encompassing system / software / whatever the hell you want to call it. And it shouldn't have exclusive games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, and that's kind of why I was also applauding the Orcs Must Die scene, because they did basically hit all the marks of defusing what could have been a rather bad situation, which again we'll get to in just a moment because we got to finish our trifecta. But you know, I loved how they did. You know, the idea of just coming out and just being like, we needed the money, and they made a deal, so we took the deal. It's like, so many people could avoid so much nonsense if they were just that straightforward about it.
Right.
You know, no one is going to hassle you if you go to say, we needed money, we needed support, they offered, we took deal.
Yeah.
Give us money!
And, you know, mind you that for the people who do a Kickstarter, they take the epic deal, you know, they've got lovely stuff on their hands too, because they kind of backstab the people supporting them, but that's a different story altogether.
Oh man, that's so much worse.
But
than,
at the
like,
same, that is much worse. But and the other thing also is, like I said before, this is a timed exclusive with Stadia. So I mean, it's launching first on Stadia, but it'll be coming to other platforms. So it's like the people at Robot Entertainment, they are taking this deal with Stadia, you know, very seriously, while at the same time they want to make sure that their fan base is like, yeah, some people may not be happy about the Stadia exclusive, but it's like, you know, at the same time, that it's like, well, it's just going to be here first, but it'll be on other platforms later. Please be patient with us, and, you know, if you want to support Stadia, go for it. If not, game will be out in other locations, just like Hades is coming to Steam at the end of this year, so awesome there too. But, yeah, no, going back to what you were saying, though, Anthony, I do agree, though, about Stadia's stance, which, honestly, is kind of what a lot of people thought about when they saw Stadia. Because, you know, we always talk about the big 3. It is Sony's PlayStation, Microsoft's Xbox, Nintendo Switch. There is 3 for a reason. There's a reason why we do not talk about Ouya in this day and age, besides it going under. That's, you know, everyone is looking at Stadia like Ouya, or whatever the hell it was called. Because it's like, it doesn't feel like that Stadia is offering anything that's supposed to be this big high-end thing, to where it's supposed to be like, you know, you're getting Stadia because you want to play anywhere at any time. You're not getting Stadia for exclusive games. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, that's why that's this idea of this game announced as an exclusivity, because you did say the other 2 games, but I would argue that Orcs Must Die 3 is probably the first big grab.
Biggest.
I'll say this is like the most.
Albeit it's a time grab, but it's still a pretty big grab. Yeah. So as such, it's like, yeah, Google is actually taking this quite seriously now. Where it's like, okay, well, maybe they aren't playing for the short game. Maybe they are actually anticipating for a slightly longer game.
Which is unfortunate, because no one else in the industry is taking Google seriously with this.
I mean, a lot of people are actually, because
think so?
Cyberpunk is going to Stadia as
Oh,
well.
okay.
Well, Cyberpunk is going
Borderlands
to
3,
Epic,
which
but
is
whatever.
F.
No.
Doom Eternal, obviously. Farming Simulator 19.
I guess rather the better thing to say is just like, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo certainly aren't taking Stadia seriously.
Yeah,
you
sure.
know. I mean, Nintendo
Yeah.
could care less, but then Nintendo has always sort of cared less what their competitors really do. And then Sony
Nintendo
and
does
Microsoft.
Nintendo.
Yeah, and then Sony and Microsoft are going to have their own little streaming thing and
I
infrastructure.
think the issue is Google's trying to get into the whole console war with the whole exclusivity kind of thing. And then first up, Stadia isn't a console.
Right.
It's a service. It's a live game service or live streaming service, whatever you want to
It's
call
imaginary.
Precisely. It's magic. So it should be that, just like Randy Pitchford's magic tricks, it should be that
Is Borderlands
everything
3 coming to Stadia?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
IMO, it should be that everything should, if Stadia obviously works and goes ahead and everything, it should be that everything should go to Stadia. So then everybody has a chance to play it for people who can't afford to go out and buy a PS4 or whatever. And I mean, I'm not going to change my argument on that, because that is kind of how the service should or was promoted initially, and how they've been going on about it for the past 3 or so over years, and they've been testing it and this and that and everything else. It shouldn't be that they have exclusives, in my opinion. I think they're just kind of competing in a market that they don't belong.
Right. Do you know what I kind of came to a realization here about Google and Stadia itself? So it's like Google over the past few years has been slowly turning into a more and more Chinese influenced company. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get conspiratorial or anything. There's plenty of documentation surrounding this and everything.
I mean, just look at their phones.
Right, exactly.
Xiaomi, they co-developed with Google,
Yeah, Google has been slowly more and more like a Chinese-oriented company over the past couple of years. Whether it's bringing their own search service to Google, or to China, etc., etc. Stadia is a garbage product in the U.S. or in more developed countries where people have more disposable income to spend on, say, nice hardware or something like an Xbox or PlayStation.
That's a good point.
You know what Stadia is the perfect product for, though? A developing company like China. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point.
People don't have a lot of money to spend out front on something,
And gaming is so restrictive, like in China and other Asian countries as well. Yeah. So this could be absolutely perfect to kind of pair up with whatever the heck. Is it still called Chrome in China, or is it something else?
What do you mean?
Like Google's search engine. What do they call it?
I have no idea the specific details, but yeah.
Quan Hing Chu. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point.
All right. Anything else to say about Stadia exclusivity? I guess it's better that it is a timed exclusive. It still kind of stings a little bit.
Yeah, no, if it was exclusive to Stadia, there would be a lot more backlash against Robot Entertainment.
Yeah.
No, we don't have the infrastructure. Come on.
Google is the last company to say they don't have the infrastructure. Okay.
Yeah, but that's kind of the thing here. The people who are angry at Robot Entertainment, I mean, I understand if they're angry, but it's like they're getting angry as if they're thinking it as, it's only going to be on Stadia and that's it.
Yeah.
To which, if that would be the case, then Robot Entertainment would be getting completely trashed right now. But the fact though is that, they were open, they were honest, and it's a timed exclusive game. So it's like, honestly, I'm not planning on getting Stadia, but if and when this does come out on other platforms, I'll definitely go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's like, everyone getting upset. I understand you're upset, but actually think about this logically for a second, and then understand that's like, all game companies kind of have their own stuff to sort through.
Right.
I mean,
and therefore it's like every company can be able to suffice themselves. And if you don't like it, then go ahead,
Anthony.
At the end of the day, do you want the game or not? The people needed money.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how they've done it, so shut up.
Right. And
this
makes a lot more sense.
We live in a day and age,
With Robot Entertainment, it makes a lot more sense that, someone like them would need it, as opposed to a massive, loaded with cash developer company like Gearbox or 2K,
Cyberpunk or whatever, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as for Stadia itself, though, who knows what the hell's going to happen there? And, maybe Orcs Must Die will be that game that will drive people to check out Stadia in terms of exclusive games.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, yeah, I still have my doubts on Stadia itself, and I'm not planning on getting Stadia anytime soon. I'm not convinced on that one bit.
You know what the big thing that'll sell me on Stadia is if I can train Google Assistant to trash talk for me.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I'm sorry. What's your question, Anthony?
Question. How long is Orcs Must Die how long is it going to be in Stadia exclusive? Do we know that? No.
Well, I mean, we don't even know of a date when it's coming out. It's coming out spring 2020, but we don't know if it's like going to be like 6 months or even a year or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I'd imagine it would be 6 months because I could have sworn that Hades came out at around May or June. And then, of course, it's coming out on Steam in December. So I would imagine that whatever the date is for spring 2020, add 6 months to it, and it'll probably come out on other platforms.
Sure, okay.
All right.
So, if I had to take a guess on that.
So.
Please don't betray your trust, Robot Entertainment. We will bring the hammer down on you like what we're about to talk about, Tyler.
Oh, all right. So, as I so love, well, actually, no. I'm going to preface this with, I've had a good time playing Apex Legends over the past few months. I'll be honest. Everything, right? It's like, I've been a fan of the guys.
It was a decent alternative to the Battle Royale genre. It actually did something different as opposed to everyone else.
Right. It launched.
When was the last time you played it?
Huh?
Oh, gee, I don't know.
About a week ago, actually. I played it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm not one to talk in that.
Yeah. No, so, I've gone on and off with the game, but in general, though, it's like, I like the game and everything, and, I've liked the guys at Respawn since they were working on Modern Warfare, Call of Duty 4 and everything, Which is why I like Titanfall so much, Titanfall 2, etc., both underrated games. You should both play, though, or you should all play both of those games. Those are fantastic games. Anyway, so, Apex Legends, which generally up until this point had a fairly healthy and positive relationship with its community. Well, so, some things were said that probably didn't need to be said to each other, okay? Throughout
the trolls.
Yeah, throughout the month of August, Apex Legends had the Iron Crown event and everything, which had a bunch of exclusive cosmetic items only for this event and whatnot. The big crown jewel is like the Raven's Bite or something like that, or the Raven's Teeth.
Raven's Crown or Bane, Hammer, whatever.
Yeah, something like that. It's this really cool axe-looking thing. Anyway, that is by far the hot item that everybody wants. It looks so cool, right? Everybody wants it. It's major street cred, etc. The problem is that what people found out is you would need to spend originally about $250 worth of items, as well as play the game a lot in order to get to this thing. So, the community, brought up the issues.
Rightfully.
Yeah, rightfully brought up the issues. Say, hey, this is kind of ridiculous. Remember, this is a free-to-play game. And so, Respawn was like, all right, you know what? We hear you. We hear you. So, for the last few weeks of the event, we're going to rotate these higher-level items throughout the store. Or it's like throughout a store and everything, so that you can buy them. And now the most you probably need to spend to get it will be $180, depending on the luck and everything. Okay? So
the whole $20 save.
Yeah.
My God, how generous you are, EA. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but, that still didn't satiate the apparently indomitable appetite of the community with this. And so, yeah. Players, this all went down on the Apex Legends subreddit and everything because Respawn is very, very active on Reddit, okay? And so players immediately gave feedback back to Respawn and said it's like, this still isn't good enough, It's like, what the hell? You guys are charging 3 times a AAA title just for, a stupid cosmetic item and everything? And it's like, and past that some more, and everything. Oh man. No, okay, past that some more, it's like the rest of the cosmetics in the game aren't even all that good. Like, you have a few, really nice looking things, but other than that, it's mostly just reskin or, color palette changes, And it's just like, the stuff is expensive. I'd rather spend $20 for a skin in, League of Legends, because at least that actually looks like it has time and effort put into it, as opposed to a skin.
Well, actually, more than that, because it's a new skin, new voice lines, new effects to it. It's like you're buying a brand new character for yourself when you get a skin in Legends. So it's
exactly.
You get so much of this instead of just a simple reskin.
Right, exactly. Which has been a long piece of criticism, to be fair, in the community for Apex Legends pretty much ever since release, to be honest. And so anyway, I'm going to quote and say both sides had some very bad people on it, okay? Let's just start with that, okay? It's like the community, it's like certain members of the community went a little bit overboard in what they were calling for and everything. But then, you know, the devs absolutely went overboard in their response too, because if you're a developer, especially a community manager, you should never talk to your audience this way.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Has the community manager been fired out of curiosity?
No. But
Damn.
anyway, so yeah, in a reply, this all kind of kicked off. Yeah, all trying to kick
Your
off when.
discretion is advised, by the way.
Yeah, this all kind of kicked off when Drew McCoy called the players asshats and dicks, quote unquote. Okay. And lamented the toxicity in the community. He went on to say, I've been in the industry long enough to remember when players weren't complete asshats to developers, and it was pretty neat. I forged a bunch of long-lasting relationships from back then. And then he also went on to say, it would be awesome to get back there and not engaging with toxic people or asking how high when a mob streams jump is hopefully a start. And Drew McCoy is not like some low-level community manager or anything. Drew McCoy is the project lead for Apex Legends.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hell.
Yeah. One community member who called the devs "quote unquote" money grabbing Fs unquote. McCoy responded to it. Yeah, exactly. McCoy responded to it, said, "Hey everyone, I found the dick I was talking about." He said, "I think technically I was calling gamers all dicks. I don't know. I had a spicy lunch. I'm feeling it." And then when you know, I mentioned, you know, there was a comment about how it's just like, you know, we can't really drum up sales for cosmetic items, no matter how much we tweet the pricing and everything. He responded to a comment about that, where he called most of the players freeloaders, because by far, in a way, most of the players... No, I'm serious, he actually called them freeloaders. Most players freeloaders, because by and large, according to Respawn's data, that, you know, only about 5% of the entire Apex Legends player base has bought an item. Like, with actual money. So
Good on him. Not really.
And he went on to clarify, it's like a change of price doesn't move the needle. And then oh, it gets better. Okay.
Oh, I'm sure it would, dude. I mean, let me just say, if a skin wasn't let me rephrase, $30 in Australia, I would probably go and buy one if it was like $5 or something. If something looked cool, I'd probably go and buy something. I have not spent any money on Apex Legends because everything is overpriced. So yes, developers, if you blinking well tweak the price, drop the cost, I would buy it. I'm not a freeloader, so get stuff.
All right.
Yeah, it's like, no matter which
Rage!
no matter which way you look at it, it's like, yeah, this is another situation that is just as stupid as what happened with Battlefront 2. Ironically enough, both by EA. That it's like, you know, you're, you know, quote unquote testing the waters, but it's like, you gotta realize that if you're dumping blood in the shark pit, sharks are gonna snap at you.
Yeah.
And it's like, at this point, it's like, why did you do this? Why did you make it literally put stuff behind a paywall? Because at least with Overwatch, at least those freeloaders could actually earn their loot boxes on top of, you know, paying for loot boxes for the off chance to be able to get skins that they want. But in your case, it's like 2 free loot boxes and then the rest you gotta pay out hand for the chance to maybe get something. And then after you get all the items, then you get the chance to pay for your extra costly X or special item.
Yeah.
It's like,
you had to pay $180. You had to pay $180 just for the chance. No, I'm sorry, not the chance. The privilege of being able to unlock this act. Okay. Anyway, this whole thing gets better because I guess McCoy must have called across the office or something for some help, because after the whole freeloader comment came to be, the lead community manager Jay Freshett came to the defense of McCoy. And he said that, so it's fine for you all to call us liars, full of shit, and other personal attacks when we communicate an apology and update to the event, but we're quote-unquote immature when we call people out on it. Got it. And then, well, that only stoked the flames even more. Okay? And then that was kind of the end of that little, that specific thread there. The next morning, a top stitched post on the subreddit claimed Respawn had alienated the player base, saying that they committed the ultimate cardinal sin. They got personal. You as a team of professionals trying to make money got personal. You got personal and decided to insult your player base, calling us asshats and freeloaders. Not a wise move. We won't forget this. You've set a new tone for the kind of interaction we'll be having with you. It's a cold one.
Yeah. Who's got faith for Jedi Fallen Order now?
Right. And then, and it's even better. It's even better.
It always gets better with EA.
Yeah. And then there was another...
I mean, I would... Wait. I would kind of expect a little respect from the guys coming from Modern Warfare.
Right.
You know, I would expect some... I don't know, some compassion, some respect, some, hey, we understand, you know, that, okay.
No. Either you die young or you see yourself become the EA. I mean, the enemy. Or the villain. Or, EA.
Or anything.
And then following up the post that claimed Respawn had committed the ultimate cardinal sin and everything, an additional post trying to call for some civility and order. I think this was posted by one of the mods on the subreddit actually, which rose to the top in Stadia also, saying it's like we need to still remain civil, not resort to full-on toxicity with the devs. Okay.
We are long past that, my friend.
He said, while we have a right to be upset, we can't let a few bad apples warrant chopping down the whole tree. What I'm saying is that we can be civil and not resort to full-on toxicity. The store in its crisis 100% needs work and tweaking, but let's not act like all of Respawn is evil here. And then...
They're the lead people.
A senior technical engineer named Rain Vincent went into that thread and said McCoy and Freshit were quote-unquote good people who were quote being honest with you, end quote. And they went on to say, I'd suggest engaging with them in good faith in those Q&A threads. If you have concerns or questions about all this, I mean, argue and have your opinions for sure, but the conspiracy and personal attack stuff is disheartening. I get that you don't know anyone from the studio personally, that we might as well be evil robots or trained murder pigeons or whatever, for all you know, but if your takeaway from the last 6 months of Apex is these diabolical line money geniuses know exactly what they're doing to surgically extract our soul trash, then oh, buddy. Personal opinion here, from a grunt in the trenches, which I don't know why a senior technical... No. Yeah, I don't know why a senior technical engineer is referring to himself as a grunt in the trenches. That's a decently high-level position. Anyway, the last project this team put out was a $60 bots product that I love. Referring to Titanfall 2, of course. I assume we were stuck doing that until the heat death of the universe, but lo and behold, Apex. I'm super proud of the leadership and business teams for getting us from the $60 at the door or GTFO nerd sales model to $0 to play, no pay to win, cosmetics and battle pass keep the lights on money. Obviously, we don't have it all to a science yet, but I got to work on gameplay stuff today that everyone will play for free in @sweet/months, and that's cool.
I would prefer to pay $60 than to have to pay $200 for packs.
And, alright, so this all went down between a Friday and Saturday, okay? Sunday was kind of a cool-off period for everyone. And then on Monday, Vince Zampella, the head of Respawn, the big man behind Respawn and everything, released a statement.
Yeah, he had to chime in too on this nonsense.
Yeah, released a statement on Twitter and everything, where he said on Monday morning, saying, on Friday, we gave Apex fans an update on how we were changing the Iron Crown event. Some of the team then joined a discussion with our community on Reddit, and things got to a pretty bad place. Some of our folks crossed a line with their comments, and that's not how we want Respawn to be represented. I apologize to any of our fans that were offended. I will always stand behind the team here at Respawn and support them on speaking out against some of the toxic and nasty comments being directed at them, including everything from death threats to comments aimed at their family and loved ones, but we shouldn't contribute to it when we do comment and add the very thing we want to prevent. We need to lead by example. Last week we didn't do that, and going forward we will be better. Having an open, healthy relationship with our community is incredibly important to all of us at Respawn. And thus concludes the symphony of chaos and hatred. Exactly.
Well, all respect for Respawn's gone.
Who's excited for Fallen Order?
No, well, I never really was, but anyway. Respawn was kind of like, you know, the light in the darkness in EA.
Yeah, they were like the darling child, right?
If that's their attitude, then, I mean, I don't know, like, why have they got such a chip on their shoulder? They're developing a game. There's going to be backlash. That is the job.
I know.
It's like being a journalist. That's what you get. You don't go in and say, hey everyone, F you. You know.
I don't know.
That's
Reading
not
my
what you
Stadia
do.
article, I know a
You
mild amount of
all-
hate
you
on
all
my Stadia
suck.
article.
You're
I'm not
all
gonna stop
asses.
talking about it.
Give us money.
Right?
Yeah, it's like Taylor's Stadia article. You know, he got a good 50, 60 comments, and it's like you don't go in there and it's like, hey, you don't be a 2-year-old. What are you doing, Respawn? Seriously.
I think you guys know the term 3 martini lunch. Oh, I think they had a 3 martini lunch that day. I don't know.
Someone had too much to drink.
It was a full course meal, my friend, not just a lunch.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, honestly, when you look at this all as a whole, it really is mind-boggling how they just allowed all this to just spiral out of control. Because, like how I just sarcastically posted right now to not feed the trolls, they did not just feed the trolls, they just bought everyone a gigantic pizza.
Yeah, they opened up a free
like a
buffet.
big 30-inch pizza and be like, have at it, people.
Yeah,
Because,
all-you-can-eat buffet. Courtesy of Respawn.
I fear to go to the Reddit right now because I watch Insider Gaming or Inside Gaming to go ahead and see the stuff, and they posted a lovely list of pictures of quote-unquote asshats and freeloaders. And as you can imagine, yeah, it is, you know, the use of, the idea of toxic is always a very good way to put it. And that even if you go ahead and say, like, a few people who might have, you know, poisoned the well, well, you know what? The well's been poisoned, and people who drink from it are not going to like the taste afterwards, no matter how much you try to clean it up.
Right. What do we think of Vince's apology there?
Okay,
do you think it hits the marks, or do you think it leaves something to be desired?
So let me wait a second.
Yeah.
Let me just break this down a little bit.
Yeah.
First up, you're a developer. I am by no means an expert in developing games or software engineering or anything like that. I've never developed a game or whatever, but I have worked in journalism and whatever for quite a few years now. So the fact is, if you are a community manager, you should not be talking to your community like that. No matter, even if you're getting death threats, you do not do that, because that is going to make it worse. That will encourage death threats. That's what happens. That's how it works. It's the internet, so grow up. Secondly, you people are supposed to have respect. You're supposed to be the respectful FPS developers in the industry. You know, you've worked on Modern Warfare. You've got a blinking. You've got what's the term? Not prodigy. You know, you're a purebred in a sense. You're a purebred company. You've had experience. You've been through all this. This is not your business model. What are you doing?
Right.
Secondly, thirdly, the guy who responded should have been fired immediately. If I was my community manager, he would have been fired and gone and bang. And Vince's apology is just not good enough.
Not good enough?
He should have done like a video apology and been like, "Hey, we're really sorry. This is not what we want to do. We're gonna really try and do better," which he kind of did, but it's just a tweet is not good enough.
Okay.
It would have come off as a South Park sorry skit.
Right.
It's just like, you know, it's all good. We're sorry. Whatever.
I think, I don't know, the one thing that I kind of desire a little bit more out of Vince's apology was just, like, seriously condemning and denouncing the comments.
Precisely.
Yeah, it'd be like saying it's just like, if you just flat out said it's like, look, instead of I apologize to any of our fans who were offended, if he straight up said it's like, you know, these individuals from Respawn crossed the line and it will never happen again, you know, say it's like I'll make sure of it, because Vince is by far and away still the face of Respawn. You know, fans of Respawn, fans of Titanfall, fans of the old Modern Warfare all know him and everything, and so it's just like, yeah, it's like they would have said it's just like, you know, these comments were horrible. And it's just like, I'll make sure this never happens again. They were entirely out of line, etc.
And it wasn't even bad what the community was saying. They were just saying, "Hey, it's too expensive. What are you doing?" You know, point it out. Yeah. And look, everybody fails. You grow from failure.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is. So why would you be so aggressive and so defensive on a community member simply pointing out, hey, 200 and however much it was is way too expensive. What are you doing? Change it, do this, do that, you know?
Yeah. You know what? What I think
community outreach?
No.
That's why you have that. So if you don't want to listen to it, don't have it.
Yeah. You know what? I can't, no, I think this all came down to, I think everyone all just spent way too much time in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby, okay? I think that's what happened. That was the level.
And we just basically saw Modern Warfare, the Reddit thread.
Right, exactly. It's just like, it was a heavy dose of nostalgia. It's like, I'll show my kids the Reddit thread and be like, this is what it was like in a Modern Warfare 2 lobby back in the day.
This is how we did it before flossing was a thing.
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was not... Honestly, this last week was not a great week for EA. You had this happen. You had the very, like, lukewarmly received Need for Speed Heat come out. That was bizarre.
Yeah.
And, or not come out, but, like, announcement. And also, we talked last week about how a dev on Anthem left. But we got news on Monday also that one of the lead devs on Dragon Age 4 left also.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yep, the gentleman, he also took his leave shortly after the Anthem guy left. So it's like, well...
Dragon Age is
like,
going to be brilliant.
Bloody shame. So, BioWare, you want to go around to the barn side with me? You want to see the graveyard? You want to see the graveyard board?
Yeah, it's not...
Yeah, just look at the birds. I mean, not to go ahead and say that BioWare is going to go under after Dragon Age 4 comes out, but it's like, I'm sorry, there is zero confidence at this point with anyone, not just BioWare, but literally anyone with EA at this point. With all the
you see,
respect.
I just hope that Dragon Age 4 is somewhat decent so that BioWare can survive long enough to put out Mass Effect 5, okay? That's... Because, you know,
Boy, you want another Mass Effect? What
I
are
do.
you, insane?
I do. I do.
No, I mean, I don't blame you, to be honest, but this is... It's disappointing. These guys are like royalty, and they're like the only bright light in EA, and they've stooped to this.
No, they have lived long enough to become the enemy. That's what it is.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it sucks to say that out loud, but yeah, everyone under EA, they either get consumed, get taken around to the barn side to get shot in the back of the head, or they just become EA.
I guess...
There's no other way to put it, unfortunately.
I guess the big thing that comes down to is, like, you know, in my opinion at least, actions speak so much louder than words. And so, we'll know if things, it's like, if all hope is truly lost for Respawn at the next Apex Legends event.
If that's what, yeah, I don't know. Like, I can keep going out of this, but if that's what they think of their community,
right?
Then that's real dangerous. That is real dangerous. Because what's to say that their heart's even in it anymore? What's to say that they even want to keep developing stuff for Apex? What's to say they're not going to turn around and be like, hey, well, you know, stuff these guys. Jedi Fallen Order is going to have this in it. It's going to have that in it. We don't care. We just want money.
Right.
Yeah, surprising mechanics. They confirmed that there's no loot boxes, but surprising mechanics, they didn't, you know, deconfirm that.
All right, keep in mind that EA is like loot boxes and surprise mechanics are different.
Yeah. What's to say they even care about what their community says? And like that is dangerous because their community says what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah.
And if they're not listening to their community and they don't care what their community's got to say, then that's a dangerous thing.
Yeah, I don't think I wanted to.
Worrisome.
Although I will say though, it's like I'm not sure I wanted to be what was it, Drew McCoy on walking into the office on Monday morning. I will say that.
Well,
yeah.
I like with Vince's response. It doesn't even sound like he's even said anything to them, really. Probably just he's just probably jumped on Twitter and said whatever he said, and it's just like, oh yeah, you'll be right.
It's nice that he actually made the post, and actually that, you know, at least his post didn't seem to go ahead to throw even more fire on top of the fire, at least. But at the same point, though, it's like there's like kind of little to no reassurance in what he wrote, because it's kind of like, you know, yeah, it kind of sucks, but we still support the people who are there because they're our employees and they're good people. And it's like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you should be kind of either condemning or at least, at the very least, saying like, you know, we will pull them off to the side and we will talk to them.
Right.
And even if it's kind of like, you know, something where it doesn't result in nothing happening, at least that, you know,
at least the
show
optics
that
look better around that.
At
You know, at least the optics look better around that.
Yeah, precisely.
Alright, so, well, we're 3 out of 5 on the Pentagram of Rage, and I think that'll about do it for the news topics. You know, not too bad. We somehow did not manage to talk about Anthem at all, which is a good start. Anyway, so... Or at least
Anthem was dead to me, I said that, sorry.
Not any significant way. Anyway, discussion question here out of the news. Gamescom this past week has been happening and whatnot, right? And honestly, this is what E3 should have been. Like, Gamescom is kind of the new E3 at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like bigger than E3 now.
Yeah, we got some pretty good announcements, by and large, all positive experience from everyone involved, from what we've been hearing and everything. So, just as kind of a little wrap-up question, what's been, like, your favorite thing to take away from Gamescom? Anthony, let's start with you.
So, I haven't watched anything relating to Gamescom this year. I haven't.
Okay.
Great community person I am. I don't even know what's been announced or anything at all at Gamescom. I haven't even watched it or done anything with it, so I'm a very bad person to ask that.
All right, Mike, how about yourself?
Yeah, with all due respect, I mean, I have been watching the Gamescom coverage in the background. It's like, oh, okay, there's a lot of interesting little announcements here and there and so on and so forth. But I can't really say if there was anything that kind of like literally grabbed me and was like, oh my god, I can't believe it was announced here. But I would probably say that if anything else, that's the one thing that has probably stuck with me the most this week was the fact that one of the most hated monsters in the history of Monster Hunter is coming to Iceborne. And people who complained that the game was too easy are about to go ahead and get their shit wrecked.
Nice.
When they go up against the poisonous purple bird of death.
Okay.
It sounds stupid, but if you know what the young Garuga is, I know I mispronounced it, but if you know what that monster is and what it can do, if you go up against it, yeah, stick your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. It is not going to show mercy against you.
Okay. Good to know.
But yeah, outside that though, I'm sure Gamescom had a good show, but
Yeah.
I don't remember anything that was like true standouts.
Okay. I watched the
outside of what I also mentioned for Stadia.
Okay, I watched the opening ceremony at Gamescom. It was hosted by Jeff Keighley, and the majority of it was dedicated
Oh
to,
god, that's I forgot about that.
with the Hideo Kojima and Death Stranding and everything, which was fun to see and everything. So yeah, I thought the Death Stranding game looks fantastic. I can't wait to play it. You know, it's like I'm honestly excited for it. I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, no, I just remembered that was the one thing I actually do remember because I now know what Death Stranding is.
Yeah.
It is a walking simulator where you go through the world saying hello to all of Kojima's best buddies.
Exactly.
And this was confirmed with even Jeff Kaplan also having a role in the game.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, that's solidified it. Everyone who's friends with Kojima is in the game, and you go around the world with a baby in a jar to say hello to each and every one of them.
Exactly. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I'm still super excited for Death Stranding, but I do kind of wish they didn't show so much gameplay both a couple of months ago when they did the big gameplay reveal, as well as at Gamescom. I really wish we would have just done like another 10 to 15 minute long mysterious looking trailer like we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Just because like so much of the hype and excitement for that game was just not really knowing what the hell it was going to be about and everything, just kind of puzzling things together as we went along. But I don't know, game looks fun, you know. I can't wait to play it, but I definitely think it's kind of hit the stage, kind of where like Smash Brothers did last year, where it's just like, okay, the game just needs to hurry up and come out at this point. Like
October, right?
I think October or November. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well,
and then,
it's also going to be at Tokyo Game Show, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, okay.
Because I could have sworn that towards the end that Kojima even teased the idea of having gameplay footage at the Tokyo Game Show, maybe?
Okay.
But it's like, okay, well, I mean, if that's the case, cool deal. But then that's, oh yeah, because Tokyo Game Show is in September.
Yeah.
September the 11th to the 15th. So it's like, yeah, that would be one more stop before the game would come out technically.
Yeah. Do you know
so who knows what else we might see by then?
Yeah. Do you know what game I really hope gets shown off at Tokyo Game Show? I really want to see more of Ghostwire. It was that.
Same, yeah.
I really hope that gets. We didn't upload that over at the game show. Anyway, the other thing for me to come out of Gamescom was Kerbal Space Program 2.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm so excited for it. It looks like, you know, now that the code base is going to be nice and proper and it's all going to be modernized and everything, I'm so excited for the possibility for this game. I'm a massive fan of original KSP. I've been playing since Alpha in 2013. Yeah.
I really hope they kind of refine it a lot and give it kind of a simple mode. Because for me, jumping into KSP, it was like too much all at once.
Yeah.
And it's like, gee, what the heck is going on? What do I do? What's my role? You know, what am I supposed to build? What's the objective? And yeah, nah.
Yeah.
So I hope they kind of give it like a simple mode for beginners, and kind of ease you into it a lot more compared to what they did the original game.
Okay. All right. So, anything else to say about Gamescom?
There is something else I want to say about something else, but...
Oh, okay. What's up?
So Game Informer is shutting down.
In Australia.
In Australia. They've already shut down in Australia, and GameSpot is looking to sell in America, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay.
Now, this isn't necessarily new news, but this has kind of been rumored for a while. And it's been, I believe it's been confirmed now, but basically GameSpot's not doing too well, as we probably already know.
Yeah.
And they basically can't afford to keep Game Informer on. EB Games, which is our version of GameSpot over here, is basically going through the same thing as what GameSpot's going through in America. Okay. And they got rid of Game Informer and basically shut it down. They didn't even sell it. They didn't try and sell it. They cancelled it and shut it all down. So all Game Informer magazines that we get over here now have the US editor-in-chief, which is McNamara or whatever his name is. Yeah. It used to be somebody else who I quite liked because he was there for like 6 or 7 years, and now it's this guy. I'm like, who the heck's this?
Okay.
But yeah, which is hopefully Game Informer gets sold off to somebody else. Maybe what are they called? GameSpot. Yeah, GameSpot. I always get GameSpot and GameStop mixed up.
Understand.
Hopefully GameSpot picks them up or somebody like that. I don't know, because they're very good. They do a good magazine. So.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much like print media is gonna be easy to sell in today's day and age. You know, that's the thing.
Sure.
Well, I mean, the fact that they're still around when there's not really that many other print pieces anymore, print media anymore, kind of says a lot about Game Informer because, you know, because I work at the library and I know that there's not that many. I mean, there's still a ton of magazines. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, you know, there's not as many fancy ones as you would think that there would be in all due respect, because it's like, you know, you have your Newsweek, you have your Times, you have all the ones that have basically been around for like a century or so now. But it's like you don't see that many current ones, or at least not too many where it seems like that they're high-end, like Game Informer in some degree.
There's still, over here, there's still like PlayStation Magazine, Xbox Magazine, all the Nintendo mags that they used to be. There were like 3 or 4 Nintendo magazines, I think, at one time. They've all gone now. They all got phased out. So, yeah, but definitely print media is dying because obviously online and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like newspapers.
Yeah.
So there is no space for them anymore. Like, unless you're 80 or something.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah.
Alright, so what games are releasing?
Yeah, I snuck in and got the list like first.
Nice. Doing well.
So we are going from the 24th to the 31st. So World of Warcraft Classic is going to PC on August 27th.
Yes.
Krista is going to PS4 on August 27th as well. Wreckfest is going to PS4 and Xbox One, also on August 27th. Control is going to PC, PS4, and Xbox One, also on August 27th. Excuse me. Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey is PC on August 27th as well.
What?
What? What? Taste of Power is going to PC on August 27th as well. Pagan Online is also going to PC on 27th. Decay of Logos, I think it is going to PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and PC on August 27th, 29th, 30th, and 30th. I guess it's in that order. Monster Sanctuary is going to Steam Early Access on August 28th. Headspun is going to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on August 28th as well. Heaven Ho is going to PC and Switch on August 29th. Astral Chain is going to Switch on August 30th. Blair Witch is going to PC and Xbox One on August 30th as well. Tanky Tanks is going to PC on August 30th. Carefoo Fight, I think that's how you say it, is coming to PC on August 30th as well. The Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors is going to PS4 and Switch on August 30th. And so that's for August 30th for EU and October 15th for North America. Root Letter Last Answer is going to PS4 and Switch on August 30th as well. Remothered Tormented Father is going to Switch on August 30th as well. Re-Legend Steam Early Access locks in August. This is crazy. Is going to PC on August 30th. The Dark Pictures Man of Medan is going to PC, PS4, and X1 on August 30th as well. Unlucky 7 is going to PC on August 30th. Fuse 4 is going to Switch on August 30th as well. And a couple of games that don't have release dates are Rogue Glitch, which is going to Steam Early Access. The Veil for PC. Pine, which is going to PC and Switch. Aspire 1 VR Operative is going to Rift Quest, PC, PSVR, and Vive, and also Index. And that's it for this month/week.
Okay. Almost in the
We
season.
are nearing the end.
Yeah, almost.
And as soon as we reach the last day of August, it is all downhill with goodness.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just one more week, guys. We're almost there.
Almost out of the summer slump.
Lots of reviews coming up too. We've got quite a bit lined up, which is awesome.
Yeah, I need to ask you about that, Anthony, once we're done.
Sure.
All right.
So yeah, should be
Well,
good.
Yeah. Keep it here. Well, thanks everyone for.
Yay.
That was like the most. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a
keep
little
it
bit. No, I got a little bit flustered from the chat. That's all. Anyway, so. All right, yeah. Thanks for everyone to tuning in on episode 85 here. We will be back next week. So I'm forgetting something. Anthony, where can people follow you on Twitter?
Yes, I am at SameAntman19. If you're there, I do all of the social media, Twitter, Facebook, N4G, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to get in touch with me, probably the best way to do it is through a site method, i.e. Twitter message or something like that, whatever you reckon.
Okay. All right, Mike. How about yourself?
If you want to go ahead to get a hold of me for whatever reason, I hope so, but because I'm very lonely.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, besides the lovely people here at Culture of Gaming, don't get me wrong, but outside of that, if you want to get a hold of me on Twitter, I am at MAS8705. I don't use Twitter too much, but I've been trying to slowly work my way up to using it just a slight bit more. And yeah, if there's anything that seems to be bothering me, or if I want to try to tell people to maybe talk about something, maybe I'll use that time to do that, such as the aforementioned Orcs Must Die 3, that during a time when, you know, everyone's getting slammed about going to exclusive, at least I was trying to find one positive story about that. And I did write about that on the Culture of Gaming site if you want to read about Orcs Must Die 3 going Stadia exclusive temporarily.
Go check it out. All right.
Please.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at InfuriousElecon. That is at INFERIUSELLECON. Lots of fun stuff happens over there. All right. Anyway, I tweet about all sorts of things. Let me tell you. Anyway, so thank you all so much for tuning in. We will be back on Mixer, same time, same place next week. Watch for some streams throughout the week. Also, I assume Anthony, you're going to keep on the ESO train.
Yeah, a couple, maybe jump into some Minecraft again because it's doing quite well apparently.
Okay.
See how we go.
All right. Awesome. So, yeah, once again, thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.